The night air in Lubbock, Texas was still. A pale half-moon hung over the quiet Texas Tech campus, casting soft shadows across the brick buildings. Students who had pulled long study sessions were now trudging back to dorms, their heads buried in hoodies, their earbuds in. On the surface, it was an ordinary October night. But in a matter of minutes, the peaceful rhythm of campus life would be shattered by the kind of violence that leaves scars for generations. This is the story of Hollis Daniels III, a 19-year-old college student, smart and privileged, but spiraling down a dark path of drugs, mental health struggles, and reckless decisions. It is also the story of Officer Floyd East Jr., a 48-year-old campus police officer, father of 2 daughters, and a man who believed in the duty to serve and protect. Their lives would intersect in the confines of a small booking room at the Texas Tech Police Station on October 9, 2017. And within seconds, one would be dead, the other branded a killer for life. But this wasn't just a shooting. It was a breach of safety so severe, investigators, reporters, and the public would all ask the same question. How did a handcuffed student manage to sneak a gun into a police station? Over the next few minutes, you will hear the chilling, dramatic, and investigative account of how a routine campus arrest turned into a deadly ambush, and the desperate manhunt that followed across Lubbock that night. Before we dive deep into this tragic and shocking story, we'd like to remind you, if you appreciate these deep dive investigations into real-life cases, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, share this video with others, and leave us your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us bring more of these powerful stories to light. It began earlier that evening. Hollis Daniels was not doing well. Once considered a promising student with a comfortable upbringing in Seguin, Texas, he had fallen hard into drug abuse. His social media hinted at darker thoughts, cryptic posts, drug references, and an apparent detachment from the reality of his own crumbling life. That night, in his dorm room at Talkington Hall, he had been using drugs again. 2 Texas Tech campus police officers, including Officer East, responded to a tip about drugs and possible drug paraphernalia. When they knocked on Daniels' door, he answered with that slouched, half-bored demeanor some people wear like armor. "Evening," East said calmly. "We've had a report about possible drug activity in this room. Mind if we come in?" Daniels shrugged. "Whatever, man." Inside, the officers quickly spotted marijuana and drug paraphernalia. There was no resistance. Daniels wasn't aggressive. If anything, he seemed lethargic, his movements slow, his speech slightly slurred. "You're under arrest," East informed him, cuffing his wrists behind his back. Daniels muttered something under his breath, too quiet to make out. But inside, his mind was racing. "I don't know. They don't know I have it. Just keep it cool." Unbeknownst to the officers, Daniels had a small-caliber handgun tucked on his person. Whether through oversight, policy gaps, or sheer bad luck, the search at the scene did not reveal it. The squad car ride to the Texas Tech Police Station was silent, save for the hum of the engine. East, a seasoned officer, kept glancing in the rearview mirror at the young man behind him. He had seen students in trouble before, but something about Daniels' cold detachment unsettled him. When they arrived at the station, Daniels was led inside to the small booking area. The fluorescent lights above buzzed faintly, illuminating the narrow room with its pale walls, a desk, and some paperwork scattered across it. As East began processing the arrest, Daniels sat in a chair, still cuffed. The officer's attention turned to filling out forms, logging evidence. Routine, methodical. In that moment, Daniels made his move. It was fast, so fast the security cameras barely caught it. Daniels somehow maneuvered his cuffed hands enough to produce the hidden handgun. In the span of a breath, he raised it and fired a single shot. The crack of the gunshot shattered the quiet. East staggered, his pen dropping from his hand. His eyes wide in shock. He collapsed to the floor. Blood pooled beneath him. The room smelled instantly of gunpowder and copper. Daniel's own heart was pounding so loudly he could feel it in his teeth. He stood frozen for a second, staring at the man he had just shot. No going back now. He turned and bolted from the station. The night swallowed him instantly. The call went out over the radio almost immediately. "Officer down! Officer down!" Suspect armed and dangerous, fled on foot. Police cars lit up Lubbock like a storm of flashing red and blue. Helicopters were scrambled. Roads near campus were blocked. SWAT teams and K-9 units were deployed. For the students, the campus went into lockdown. Dorms were sealed, lights switched off, and hundreds of young men and women crouched in silence in their rooms, reading updates on their phones and praying the killer wouldn't come near. Somewhere in that chaos, Daniels was running, heart hammering, breath ragged. He had ditched the cuffs, the gun still warm in his hand. He ducked into shadows, slipping through side streets, scanning for a place to disappear. Investigators quickly pieced together what they were dealing with. A 19-year-old white male, about 140 pounds, brown hair, armed, desperate, unpredictable. Every second mattered. The longer he was out there, the greater the risk. Hours passed. The night was cold. Daniel's adrenaline was starting to crash, replaced with a bone-deep exhaustion. He hadn't planned beyond the escape. Now the reality of his situation pressed in. He was the subject of one of the largest manhunts in recent Lubbock history. Around 9:30 p.m., a Texas Tech officer spotted movement in a residential area near the campus. He slowed his patrol car, the spotlight sweeping across backyards. There, a figure hunched low near a fence. "Police! Don't move!" the officer shouted. Daniels froze. His face was pale, his eyes wide. The cocky detachment from earlier was gone. Slowly he raised his hands. He was taken into custody without further shots fired. The murder of Officer Floyd East Jr. devastated the Texas Tech community. East was remembered as a kind, steady presence, a man who loved his wife and daughters, who took pride in his work, who treated even those he arrested with dignity. For investigators, the case raised hard questions. How had the search failed? What changes needed to be made to prevent something like this from ever happening again? For Daniels, the legal consequences came swiftly. Charged with capital murder of a peace officer, he eventually pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. This story is a stark reminder of how a single lapse, a single hidden weapon, can turn a routine night into tragedy. Officer Floyd East Jr.'s life was cut short in the line of duty, leaving behind a grieving family and a shaken campus. Hollis Daniels will spend the rest of his life behind bars, haunted and haunting others, with the memory of what he did. If you've been with us through this emotional, dramatic retelling, thank you for watching. To our first-time viewers, we invite you to subscribe and join us as we explore more of these true stories with depth, care, and a commitment to remembering those impacted. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.